Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I am the Nurse Jo, and today we're going to talk about interviews. So if you guys don't already know, I am the Nurse Jo. You guys can follow me at the Nurse Jo on Instagram. My goal is to help new nurses and new grads to be successful in the world of nursing. And I think it's really important to have because we do not eat our young, we help our young. So what I did is I asked a bunch of my colleagues who are already established nurses, and I've also gotten answers from consolidation students who have received jobs. And I got them to send in their tips on how to take a successful interview. So with that being said, I've got my collared shirt on. Let's get started with the interview tips. So the first things first, how do you get a nursing interview?
Hello, it's Editing Joanna here, and I just wanted to say that I really wanted to include how to land an interview, and then I realized, my God, this video is going to be so long, so I decided to not include it, but I'm going to do another video on how to land an interview afterwards, so you guys have the complete interview series. That's all I wanted to say. So stay tuned for that. So you can continue watching, or if you please continue watching. Anyway, have fun.
So let's get started. It's the day of your interview. Because of COVID times, we are usually doing this via Zoom or via Teams, just video call mostly. So just making sure that you have a glass of water beside you, because we all know, gosh, when we're nervous, my lips are dry already right now. I'm a little nervous. So just keeping a glass of water with you is really important. And just, it's in your area, making sure that you're in an appropriate setting. My sister's gonna get mad at me for that picture. And you're sure that you are comfortable, that no one's going to interrupt you, that your internet is well connected. So the first thing that you guys should prep for is knowing your institution well. What I mean by that is every institution will have a mission, a vision, and values. Know those by heart, because every single interview I've had to know the mission, the visions, the values. The reason as to why hospitals ask this, or institutions in general ask this, is because they want to make sure, A, you've done your research on them, and you are interested in them. I'm sorry guys, there's a reflection there. It's because my phone is broken and I'm filming on my phone. And the second reason as to why they ask this is because they want to see if your values match their values, okay? So when you're talking about the visions, the missions, and the values, kind of relate how the values resonate with you. The second thing that you guys should usually prep for, and you can usually find in an institution, is things like the S-bar, so giving report, knowing your S-bar report, knowing your 4 moments of hygiene, which is going to be important at all times, knowing your HEAL, just little acronyms that may be used in the institution itself. It's also important to know who's interviewing you as well, just getting kind of an idea. And remember their names. Just, remember their names so that you can look them up after and actually send them a thank you email. So then we move on to the clinical questions. So if you are applying for a med-surg floor, they will most likely ask you some clinical questions. So making sure that you've reviewed beforehand your ABCs, your med-surg stuff. If you're going for the birthing unit, making sure you know your labor process. It's important to study for interviews. The reason why I tell you this is because there can be many applicants, and your amount of hours and prep that you've had can actually beat the person next to you who has maybe studied less than you. Now, in terms of clinical questions, the best thing that I can let you guys know is email the educator. Email the educator, because most likely they're going to be the ones who are going to be interviewing. Email the educator and ask them for the floor policies. So the floor policies will actually tell you exactly what to do in code blues if you're going to med-surg, for I don't know anything about traumas, for neonatal distress, for postpartum hemorrhages. Let's just go with things that I do know. Get them to send you the link of all of the policies. Sometimes they're already readily available for the public in the websites, but if they're not, email the educator so they can send you those, and you can honestly just memorize all of them. So when they give you your clinical questions, you're going to be able to hit off every single point that they asked for. If the educator says no, that's fine. It shows interest, and it shows initiative when you ask them this. But if they said no, then that's okay. Find someone who works on that unit and get them to send you all of that stuff. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find them perhaps on your nursing graduating class. It's just really important, and it just makes life much easier. And you will be able to ace those clinical questions. If you know the step-by-steps because you have the policies, you're going to get every single point that you need. So let's talk more about behavioral questions. Now, behavioral questions are questions that anyone, in no matter what field they're in, will get. So behavioral questions talk more about kind of ethical questions, but also talk more about your persona. So behavioral questions that most likely you will get are questions such as, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? So when talking about your strengths and weaknesses, it's important to have the same amount of strength and weaknesses. Don't have like 5 weaknesses and 5 strengths. It's usually good to have 2 to 3 strengths and weaknesses that you're able to present forth to your potential manager. When you're talking about your strengths, just make sure that you don't come off too cocky. Make sure that you present yourself as confident but not too cocky. And then the same goes for weaknesses. Don't put yourself down too much. Again, be very professional about what you're talking about. For example, my weakness could be things like I can be quite hard on myself, and I've learned throughout the years of nursing that I need to be a little bit more self-understanding. Things like that, just making sure that you're not putting yourself down. Talk about your weaknesses, but also talk about how you're working on those weaknesses so that they know that it's something that you're aware of and it's something that you're working on. Another question that they may ask you is, why should we pick you to work here? This is a really important question, and it's usually the question that makes people the most nervous. And I know for sure it makes me the most nervous because then I start thinking, well, oh my goodness, everyone is qualified. What can I possibly say that will make me stand out? There are 2 parts to answering this question. Make sure that you let them know what your skills are and that you're resilient. The second thing is, make sure that you let them know that you're going to be a good fit for the team overall. Also, explain to them how you're going to make their life easier if they hire you. Letting them know, I'm committed to this team. I'm committed to working the hours, because honestly, all the managers love that. And lastly, show enthusiasm about the specialty itself. Why do you emotionally want to do this? I want to work in labor and delivery because ever since I was little, I had an absolute passion for moms and babies, and I love education. With that being said, I have actually already a link down below to 40 behavioral questions that you can go over before your interview. So helpful, because it's honestly helped me very much with all of the different interviews that I've had. And it actually gives you tips on how to answer those behavioral questions. So I will make sure that I link them down below for you guys as well. And put it on my blog. I'm just looking through the tips that my followers most graciously gave me. Just making sure that you find ways to ground yourself. Anxiety can be your worst enemy. Do not freak out. All you're doing is getting opportunities. This is an opportunity. Whether you get it or not, this is how you get experience. So just making sure that you keep that in mind. Don't put too much weight on this because then anxiety may backstab you. Is that how you say it? I don't know. In Spanish, there's a saying that they will come. Anyway, you can always ask questions at the end, such as what's their nurse-patient ratio. A really great question is like, what would you guys consider a successful nurse on your unit? Kind of things like that. Just make sure you don't come off standoffish. It's okay for you to ask them to repeat the question. And it's okay to ask them, excellent question, just give me a couple minutes while I think of a response for this. That's totally okay as well. And I think that's pretty much it. So if you guys think I've missed anything, please feel free to either email me or DM me. Remember, nurses help nurses, and I'm here to show you guys that. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to follow, put a thumbs up, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. And yeah, have a wonderful day, and remember to go on and be happy.